part 3 of our Windows operating system task sequence deployment via SCCM 2012. And we have a visitor. His name is Zed. He actually decided to show up for us here in our collection, in our TechJax OS collection. So we can actually go ahead now and Pixie boot that particular virtual machine. So here's our previous attempt again, where we originally tried to boot into Pixie, and since our machine wasn't an SCCM imported, and it wasn't in a task sequence collection, it wasn't allowed to boot. So what we're going to do now is just go ahead and reinitialize this particular setting, and we're going to hit F12 now when the setting shows up to allow us to boot. So basically, everything worked out pretty well in terms of what we did. Quick rundown: we had our install.wim, and it was moved over to our distribution point. Our boot image is on our distribution point. Our task sequence is configured to allow us to image a machine. We deployed that to our collection, and we have a device in that particular collection that was imported via the MAC address, and we gave it a computer name of Zed. That particular virtual machine now is actually downloading the boot.wim, and it moves a lot faster when you're actually all on the same machine, as opposed to bringing it down from a remote location or a location where the server might be in a different location. And here's our System Center Configuration Manager Windows PE environment. You can customize this background, and I need to customize it because I keep forgetting. The way to customize this particular background actually is you go to the actual boot image, and in the boot image there's an option to customize, and you would select it here. Windows PE background. It allows for you to actually select a picture or a wallpaper or whatever it is you want so that it displays in the background. So depending on your company, if you want to have a corporate logo, or if you want to have a little bit of fun and have like a character or something like that, then please feel free to do so. In our particular scenario, I did want to take a quick look at some of our site configurations for our system roles for our distribution point. This particular setting allows us to take a look at the Pixie settings. And on our Pixie settings, I just want to take a quick look at this because some people might need to change this depending on what it is that you're expecting or what you need to have be the case in terms of your security. Enable unknown computer support. That's one of those things where if the machine is unknown to SCCM, whether or not you allow it to Pixie boot if it's in the domain. That can be a security issue. Usually that's why you have a password when using Pixie. And that particular situation shows up like this, where before we can even use our task sequence, we have to enter a password in order to make sure that in case if you VLAN off your actual SCCM task sequence deployments networks, then you shouldn't have this issue. But I've seen situations in which end users were able to Pixie boot, right? It's like, what are you doing hitting F12 at the beginning of your BIOS startup? And how do you get all the way here? And you're going to re-image your machine. And this protects them because you never know. I mean, end users, they tinker, they hit stuff happens. A cat jumps up on their lap, smacks their keyboard, hits F12 when they was restarting their machine. Next thing you know, I don't know if their cat would be, at work with them, but some places, they actually allow pets now. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and enter our password if I can remember it. And this is going to show us the task sequence that we have deployed to the collection that we're a part of. Now, in some scenarios, depending on your environment, you may have multiple task sequence deployed to a same collection. So say this collection was named Windows 7 machines, and you had different versions of operating system task sequences and or sysprep WIM files based on the particular department's needs. If it was an accounting department and they needed to have these particular pieces of software, if it was a what other kind of departments do they have? I guess an IT department. I know accounting and IT, right? Those are like the ones that are like the only ones that are jumping into my head right now. Human Resources Department. Depending on whether or not you have different software needed for those particular departments, you can create different task sequences and you can actually deploy them to the same collection. And then what happens is that when we log in to our system center configuration task sequence pre-installation environment, we would see this as a list, and we can actually choose from multiple task sequences what we want to run. So again, in cases and say that our accountants only had or only were able to use Office 2007 for some reason that they had like legacy software and only works with it, then we can create a task sequence just for them so that that particular task sequence installs 2007 versus 2010 versus 2013. If they had to have a legacy version of Java, like 638 or 45, then you would put that in that task sequence. So it allows us to actually set up different versions of our task sequences and deploy them to the same collections. And then that allows us to know that, hey, there's a new accountant starting today. Can you start imaging a machine for them? Like, sure. Well, we know exactly what it is that they need. So let me go ahead, take that machine, put it into our collection. We're going to boot it, and then we're going to select their particular task sequence, and voila, it comes off the presses, and it has all the particular conventions that they need, whether or not you harden it using local policies and sysprep that image, or whether or not you have that particular machine go straight into their OU where it can do mappings and redirections of their folders and stuff like that. So anyway, let me go ahead and click this. I want to keep talking. I'm going to go ahead and pause this because this is going to take a bit, and there's no reason to let you guys watch this very entertaining screen fill its blue progress bars up to the end. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this now, and we're going to return once everything is done. And as you can see, it's installing our install.wim. So there you go. And I'll pause this and I'll return so we can actually wrap up everything that we've done and seen. Okay, this is part 3, the return, right, from the actual operating system being deployed. It took a little bit, obviously. It's installing the actual client now, and it's almost done with that. And very shortly, we should actually get our Windows login screen, and then we can go ahead and verify that we had a completely successful installation of an operating system via the SCCM 2012 deployment. So it took a while. Look at the screen, is very tiny. There are obviously things that we would have to do in order to make that work, but it looks like we're about done now. We got our Control-Delete screen, and depending on the particular OU that it's in, because we haven't confirmed that yet, but I will confirm that now. We're going to go check and see if it was actually added. I didn't even hit refresh yet to our, yep. So it added the machine to our workstations OU like we designated before. And I can use any myriad of usernames that I already have set up. And we're going to go ahead and log into this particular system, take a quick look at some of the files that I already had, the applications I already had, so you guys can see what kind of sysprep system I had. It was very basic. Like I said, I only did it when I was working on doing syspreps, and I just wanted to have a couple of applications actually on there. But it's a very, 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 very basic. I think those are only 2 applications I have, like literally. So just wanted to make sure it actually worked. And at that point, you can see that we have Microsoft System Center 2012 already installed. So if we actually had this machine in other collections for getting software, then once the machine policy and evaluation start running, they will automatically start pulling down. We can already start getting content. If we had our system software updates already being pushed out, then they would start coming down already. We are already getting some we're already getting obviously our group policies, so that's a great thing. And there you go. So this is TechJax. I'm going to go ahead and configure this bad boy so that the screen resolution is proper, and so that we can go ahead and hammer away on it, do all kind of things with it. It can be a part of our our demonstrations going forward in the future. So thank you for watching. Hopefully this helps. If there are any questions, anything you guys need, let's let me know. You guys have a good one, and I'll talk to you guys when I talk to you.